kindergarten, this is our last reading lesson of the whole year. So let's check out our last question one more time together. It says, how do ants build their nests? Well, we learned that ants build their nests from digging underground, using trees, and using other things in nature to help protect them, like the pebbles. They roll the pebble in front of their opening so that no other creatures can get inside. And we learned that their bodies make sticky silk to help stick things like twigs and leaves together. We also learned that if they build underground, there's a network of different chambers, different tunnels that go underneath so that they are all connected and so that they can go wherever they need to go. It's really cool, kindergarten. What else did we learn about ants? We learned that we learned that all ants live in colonies, really big colonies. So you don't usually just have one ant all by itself taking care of itself. They live in giant colonies, big groups, big families. We learned that the queen ant, the big ant, usually stays around, and we learned that all the other little worker ants go out and get the food. Kindergarten, let's check out our comprehension skill one more time this week. It says, I can use clues to draw conclusions. Okay. When we read our story today, which I know we already read yesterday, but we're going to read it one more time today. We're going to stop in the middle of that story in the poem, and we're going to see if we can figure out some clues about where different animals live. And then I might give you some clues about where a different animal might live. I might tell you where it lives, and then you need to figure out which animal I'm talking about. But before we do any of that, let's go check out all 6 of our new words for this week one last time together. The first new word we learned this week was colony, and we said that ants live in colonies. They live in big groups, big families all together. They're usually never by themselves. You might see them out by themselves while they're trying to get food, but they always go back to their families. The next word we learned this week was underground. Ants like to live underground. They stay safer underground because they're so little and they don't want to get stepped on. So the safest place for them to go is underground. We also learned about chambers. Under the ground, they have all of these different chambers. A chamber is usually where this tunnel ends. It's like a little room. So you might call your bedroom your chamber. The next word we learned was silk. Just like spiders, they use silk to build their webs. Ants use silk. Their bodies make silk so that they can stick things together like leaves and twigs. Our next word was twigs. Twigs, kindergarten. Twigs are just like little tiny branches that fall from not from the sky, that fall from trees. Sometimes it might seem like they're falling from the sky, but they fall off of trees, kindergarten. And our last word this week was pebbles. Pebbles are just like little tiny rocks, little tiny stones, and ants use them to close the opening to their nests so that nobody can get inside all of their chambers. Let's go read our story for this week, for today and yesterday, not the whole week, for today and yesterday one more time. Before we read our poem from yesterday one more time, I'm going to give you some clues about an animal, and I want you to see if you can figure out what the animal is. Okay. This animal lives in a lodge. It uses its tail to smooth things out. It uses mud to stick all of these sticks together, and it uses its teeth to cut up the sticks. What animal am I thinking of? It's a beaver, kindergarten, a beaver. Okay, this animal collects small twigs and pieces of string and flies them up into a tree. Usually this is in a tree, and this animal also lays eggs in this. What animal am I thinking of? A bird. A bird lives in a nest. Okay, and the last one I'm thinking of, this animal does not build its own home. It lives in a cave. We might call it its lair or its den. And this animal hibernates in the winter. What animal am I thinking of? I'm thinking of a bear, kindergarten. Good job. Let's go ahead and read our story from yesterday, our poem, one more time. Get yourselves cozy. Get your brains ready to make a movie. Here we go. Animals' Houses by James Reeves. Of animals' houses, two sorts are found, those which are square ones and those which are round. Ooh, found, round. They both have ound. Those are rhyming words. This poem rhymes. Here we go. Square is a hen house, a kennel, a sty. Cows have square houses, and so have I. Where does a cow live that its house would be square? Maybe rectangular. It live in a barn. Its home would be a barn. A snail's shell is curly, a bird's nest is round. Rabbits have twisty burrows underground. So where does a rabbit live? It lives underground in a burrow. And a snail would live in its shell. But the fish in the bowl and the fish at sea, their houses are round as a house can be. Have you ever seen a round house before? I've seen a round house before. They're pretty cool. They're pretty neat. But usually, do we live in round houses or ones that are square or rectangular? We usually live in houses that are square or rectangular. Go get your worksheet from yesterday. We're going to go over it together. Here is your worksheet from yesterday, kindergarten. And yesterday, you needed to, of course, put your first and last name at the top. And then I wanted you to color all of these pictures at the top, all of these building materials and tools. Remember, you should have used real colors and used 3 or more of those colors. Then your job was to pick which house these building materials and tools were going to build. So let's take a close look. We have a crane, we have a hammer, wood, a rectangular door, a rectangular window, and a cement mixer. So are we going to use those tools and building materials, building supplies, to build a regular, square, rectangular house, or are we going to use it to build like a grass hut? We would use all of these to build a square or rectangular home, probably like one that you would see that you live in or one that lives around you. What do you think we would use to build a grass hut? Well, the roof is made out of long pieces of grass, so probably long grass, and the sides are usually made out of nice long sticks or branches that you would get off of a tree. That's how you would make a grass hut. So up here I don't have grass for a roof and I don't have long branches for the walls. So I know that I'm not building a grass hut. I am building a regular house that we would probably see in our neighborhoods. Just a rectangular or square one. So you should have only colored this house right here. You should not have colored the grass hut. If you made a mistake, that's okay. Now we know. We're not going to fix it. We're going to leave it alone so Miss Dollar can check it out. But now you know, kindergarten. You did a great job this week with our reading. So I owe you a warm fuzzy. We are getting close to counting up our last warm fuzzy bucket. We'll do that at the end of the day. I'll see you guys in just a little bit.